the jobs for local Kannadigas. Massive blowback in Bengaluru, India's IT capital, where millions descend from all across the country to work, to survive and to thrive. Is this constitutionally legal? Could it set a terrible precedent? Is it even acceptable in law? All that and more coming up on the Newstrack.
Kannada Reservation Bombshell. Job quota for Karnataka locals. Siddu cabinet clears quota bill. Industry fumes over quota move. How will this impact Bengaluru? What next for India's IT hub? That is a big focus on Newstrack.
Let me take you through the headlines I'm tracking tonight. Rumblings in Uttar Pradesh BJP continue. PM Modi meets Amit Shah at his Delhi residence after meeting UP BJP Chief Bhupender Chaudhary. Sources say there may be an organizational rejig in Uttar Pradesh. Churn in Maharashtra as well. 4 Ajit Pawar leaders return to Sharad Pawar's NCP over assembly polls ticket distribution. Meanwhile, RSS link weekly blames tie-up with Ajit Pawar for BJP's poor Lok Sabha performance. Valmiki scam hit mounts on Siddu Sarkara. Enforcement watchdog arrests former Minister Nagendra. His bank accounts are also under the ED scan. Big Agniveer boost in Haryana. State government announces 10% reservation in constable, mining, guard, forest guard, jail warden and SPO. Agniveers will also get age concession of 3 years. Weeks after the Hathras stampede, Bhole Baba visits his ashram in Kasganj in Uttar Pradesh, calls 123 deaths a twist of fate, says a poisonous spray triggered the stampede on the 2nd of July. 50% reservation for Kannadigas in management roles and 70% in non-management jobs. The Siddaramaiah government has cleared the draft bill mandating quota for locals in the private sector. This has triggered a big backlash, with India Inc. calling the bill regressive and discriminatory. Meanwhile, states like Andhra Pradesh and Kerala have called on industry bodies to invest in their states instead.
Facing heat over multiple scams. The Karnataka government, led by Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, seems to have played the Kannadiga card, planning to bring in a bill to set aside a lion's share of government and private jobs for Kannadigas alone. The bill mandates a 50% reservation in management jobs and a mammoth 75% in non-management jobs only for local Kannadiga candidates. Initially, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah announcing a sweeping 100% reservation for Kannadigas in all blue-collar jobs. But he quickly retracted the move after Labour Minister Santosh Lad clarified that no specific quotas exist for these job categories.
And most of the politicians, wherever we go, we have been always pressurized that we need jobs, we need jobs, we need jobs. I don't say that they're not giving. So if there's a mandatory something like this, so it becomes foremost and important to see to that local gets an opportunity. And in case if the local talent is not available, they can opt to get for anybody else. So why they are so hesitant to seeing that by this draconian law will kill the industry, I think this is hard.
But the move is facing flack not only from the opponents, but from Congress allies and Congress netas too.
A reservation is required for local people, no doubt about that. Wherever possible, they should give the reservation. Technically, we can't enforce on any organization to take them if they are not technically qualified for that.
Every next day they come out with these kind of dramatic bills, just want to cover up all the scandal, whatever scandals, whatever the loot, whatever the allegations they have been facing, they just want to cover up with all these kind of dramas.
It's highly retrograde, reactionary, and regressive. See, one state or one city is not made by those people who are born there or in domicile.
Prominent industrialist and software body like NASSCOM also raised concerns, stressing the need for skilled talent in Tech Hub and the possible impact on brand Bengaluru.
The bill says a local is defined as a person who is born in Karnataka, who has spent 15 years here, and who knows Kannada. And he has to pass a test. And if you don't have Kannada as a language in your school leaving certificate, then you have to take a test by a nodal agency.
Even Bengalurians are divided. While some call it a discriminatory, regressive and unconstitutional, others back the move.
More than Kannada, here outside peoples are working here, more than Karnataka peoples.
People should give some importance for the localites. And of course, for technical jobs, it is the whatever they score, whatever they get is important.
Meanwhile, Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar defended the bill as a fair and necessary step.
ನಮ್ಮ ಕಡತಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸುವಂಥದ್ದು ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಹಾಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಉದ್ಯೋಗಗಳನ್ನ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವೆಲ್ಲ ಕೂಡ ಕಡ್ಡಾಯವಾಗಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟೇಜ್ ಕನ್ನಡಿಗರು ಇರಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಮ್ಮ ಆಸೆ. ಆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿಯಿಂದ ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಕನ್ನಡಿಗರಿಗೆ ಮಿನಿಮಮ್ ಇಷ್ಟು ಪರ್ಸೆಂಟೇಜ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಮೊನ್ನೆ ತೀರ್ಮಾನವನ್ನ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿದೆ.
To benefit from the reservation, locals must be proficient in Kannada and needs to be born in the state or a resident for at least 15 years. A similar local quota push in Haryana and Andhra, however, failed to pass legal scrutiny. Will the Sidda government law face similar fate? With Nagarjun Dwarkanath in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
According to the 2011 census, 4 out of 10 people living in Bengaluru are immigrants. That's they stay in places apart from the place where they were born. Now this means that there are 1.5 million people in Bengaluru who are employed in the technology sector, which is worth about $245 billion. And this contributes about 43.86% to Karnataka's economy. Bangalore itself contributes about 44% of Karnataka's economy. And we've already seen the kind of reactions that are pouring from NASSCOM, from IT companies, where they are spooked out of their wits and talking about leaving Karnataka and other states like Andhra Pradesh, laying out the red carpet saying, please come here. Joining me now is Santosh Lad. He's the Labour Minister of Karnataka. Mr. Lad, welcome. Can you begin to explain to everyone who's watching, who's very concerned in Bengaluru, in Karnataka and across the country, why the Congress government in Karnataka wants to bring this reservation bill which would restrict jobs, 50% of the jobs in management roles, 70% of the jobs in non-management roles for local candidates? You're seeing India being very spooked, very alarmed and talking about leaving your state already.
Hi Rahul, can you hear me?
I hear you well, sir.
Hello?
I hear you well.
Yeah. Rahul, if you just read this, okay, if you read this bill, you know, when you say at the outset only, when you say 50% in management level, and I was hearing through the local definitions what you have given as local Kannadigas, the 50% are already, it shows that the outside people from outside state also will get the job. So the catch is there, in case in the management level, if they are not able to find the requisite, the technical people around, they can still go 25% low. So technically 25% would be local Kannadigas as whatever we have told, 75% are outsiders. In the non-management, we say 70% up to 70% because downstream, obviously it will be more local here, and anywhere by default there will be so many people. So we have gone up to 70%, and in case if you don't find them also, you can go below 20%. So technically there's an escape for 20% there and 25% here. And I was hearing you like Haryana has got this bill, they have made it as a 75% mandatory as a reservation. We are not using a word called neither mandatory as a reservation, neither we are making it as a quota. We are asking an employment in management level and non-management level.
No, but how do you decide whether we can find 50% Kannadigas for the management level or not? Because these are very subjective calls. The board of the company, the CEO may think of someone as being unsuitable because this creates the spectre of Inspector Raj, where some inspector from the Labour Ministry of your government will come and say, why is XYZ not on the management? He's very worthy. The CEO and the board are saying, no, we don't think he's good enough. We don't want him. It just creates a lot of space for bribe giving and bribe taking. Is that really the idea here?
No, Rahul. First of all, if you read the bill, there is nothing called we are going to have any inspection. It's an enactment. We want people to accept this. There's nothing that Labour Department or government will go intervene. We are requesting the industry to see to that, boss, give an opportunity. In case if you don't find, if they have said that they have given an opportunity where they didn't find the local talent, they can always opt outside. So what are we asking, Rahul, here? Basically, you stay in my shoes, okay? You, for a time being, you be as a minister and look at from our angle, from the government. Bangalore, why people come to Bangalore? One is the state, it's a people who are very friendly. Second is there's a lot of talent available. We have got more than 60 medical colleges, 440 engineering colleges, hundreds of ITI, diploma, international school, multinational companies. Why are they coming here? What is the reason they are coming here? It shows there's a lot of talent portal available here. Among us talent portal is available. I am a district in charge of Hubli Dharwad, where highest number of colleges are after in Bangalore there. So I understand wherever I go, we have been always pushed to ask for an employment whenever we call any industry. There are last 10 years either way the employment is dipping down, the industries are not great, not coming up what we were expected to get here. But all said and done, there is a push that they always feel that locals have been not given an opportunity. So it doesn't mean that me getting this bill, we want to throttle the industry here, or it is a draconian law where industries are going to suffocate. Nothing is of that. If you read in a good spirit, if there is any, you only explain to me in what way it is going to hamper their business.
No, I'll explain. Because the Haryana government has tried something similar, not exactly the same, but it's already been tried. This was struck down by the Punjab and Haryana High Court on the 17th November 2023. And I want to recall for our viewers why the Punjab and High Court struck it down. It says that this is violative of the fundamental right to equality under Article 14 of the Constitution.
Article 14.
Which says that citizens and employers cannot be determined on the basis of birth and residence. It's also violative of the fundamental right to freedom of trade and commerce under Article 19(1)(g) of the Constitution, as it imposed unreasonable restrictions on the employers to hire local candidates irrespective of their merit and suitability. Now, other governments have tried something similar and failed. Are you just playing to the gallery? Is this about politics? Is this about just trying to shore up the Kannadiga vote in Karnataka regardless of what happens in the courts? Because this has been tried and it's failed.
Okay, Rahul. If you can go through every government policies, every state, Rahul, first of all, I would like to clarify, anyway, we are not facing any elections around the corner, number one. It's not playing to the gallery. I'm being the second time a minister. Believe me, I'm a serious guy. I spend a lot of time in the rural area and I come from an industry background also. I understand both very equally well. So coming back here, your question is, yes, Haryana government, when it is stuck down, because it made us 75% as a mandatory. Here it is not a mandatory. We are asking a 50% employment to be provided. In case the talent is not available, they can still go up to 25% down below. There's no harsh to say that you have to stick on to 75%. And you mean to challenge, you mean to say any industry, NASCOM or any industry, they say there is no 25% of talent available in Bangalore and Karnataka? This is what they want to say?
No, but it shouldn't be restricted to localites. It should really be open to everyone. Why should it be like, for example, one second, sir, because Karnataka is not a normal state. This is a state which is India's IT capital. Now, if you look at the total number of GCCs that are here, 30% of the GCCs are in Karnataka. 11,000 startups are in Karnataka. And these are competing globally against some of the smartest brains in the world. Why do you want to restrict it just to locals? You can have all these people in your state contributing to your local economy, which benefits Bengaluru, which contributes 44% of Karnataka's GSDP.
That's what, Rahul, you have got a wrong. See, how we narrate is important. For example, now the people who are living here or who are already past 15, 20 years, they are local Kannadigas only. Coming back here, when we say you give 25%, 75% outside only we are requesting. Now, what does we say? When we say in management, you give an opportunity, it is not going to be a trust effect, right? It is going to be a further only. So in future, in management level, we are asking them to give 50%, a local who could be 15 years, who has lived as a, he's from Rajasthan or Bihar or UP, he'll get an opportunity. Or if they can't find them, so 75% people they can import from other states. That's what is the law says.
Okay.
So where is question of, we are telling them you have to give, yeah please.
You know, you've explained what you have. This is Santosh Lad, the Labour Minister. I want to throw this open to some really sharp brains who understand the pulse of Bengaluru, understand employment in Karnataka. I want to welcome Manish Sabharwal, Vice Chairperson, Team Lead Services. For those who don't know, Manish's expertise is really manpower, training, recruitment. He understands the labour economy better than most people I know. Harish Bijur is Bangalore's best-known brand guru. He joins us on this broadcast as also Dr. Sudha Halkai, spokesperson of the BJP. I want to go across to Manish Sabharwal. We just heard from Santosh Lad, the Labour Minister of Karnataka. He says, what is wrong in the Karnataka State Employment of Local Industries, Factories, Establishment Act, Bill 2024? He says, we are not mandating it. We're saying this is ideal, work towards 50%. If you don't find 50%, even 25% in management is good enough. Manish Sabharwal, explain as best as you can to the Karnataka government why you think this bill could be detrimental to Bangalore and to Karnataka.
I mean, I think we have to acknowledge that people are disadvantaged all over the country. And obviously, there's no such thing as poor people. There are people in poor places, you know. So I think Bangalore's attraction has been established over a long time as a job magnet. The challenge for all of us to understand this is that Karnataka has become what it has is because it was a meritocracy. Right? Everything, you know, cricket became more of a meritocracy because of IPL. I think movies became more of a meritocracy because of OTT, and, you know, business became more of a meritocracy because of private equity. And prosperity is about meritocracies. I think you should have a welfare state. You should redistribute income and taxes to people who need it. But I think if you kill the golden goose, you can't finance a welfare state by debt. You can finance a welfare state by taxes. The same way you can't provide jobs in the private sector based on where you were born or the color of your skin. I mean, reservations is very politically complex. It does create political constituencies. It does help the disadvantaged. But you can't discriminate in favor of somebody without discriminating against somebody. So in my mind, I think the genius of Bangalore, you know, software is 0.8% of India's labor force, but it's 8% of GDP, is because we have assured all the investors, and I'm not sure all the companies in Bangalore are built by people who are here 100 years ago. They have been created by actually foreigners. And I think the most ironic thing is, you know, when you walk around San Francisco, you see a lot of people wearing T-shirts, I was Bangalored. So Bangalore is a verb for, you know, American jobs taken away by Indians in software. So I think we have to be careful if we think that all the jobs in Karnataka were not, many of the jobs in software have been globally competitive, which means that they were taken away from somebody else in some other country. So I would just urge us to think about the genius of Bangalore. It is a meritocracy. It's been cosmopolitan. It's not only at the intersection of, you know, 3 states in South India. It's a little bit of Andhra, a little bit of Tamil Nadu, a little bit of Karnataka, which is why Bangalore's positioning. It's established itself as a global brand. And I think that there is enough for everybody. I don't think we need to interfere in private sector recruitment or meritocracies to ensure that everybody in Karnataka gets a job or is prosperous.
Harish Bijur, You heard what Santosh Lad, your state minister, had to say. He says, what's the problem? Just give it a shot. If you don't find someone, we're happy to reduce it to 25%. It needn't be 50 or 70. Give it a shot. Why isn't India Inc. willing to try? What do you think is your biggest concern? What are you most spooked about?
I think,
I'll put it this way. That, firstly, I must say that I'm a proponent for language primacy. In terms of, Kannada in Karnataka, I'm a total proponent for that. But being a proponent of that, I would say that, the name boards, of shops, etc., must have primacy in Kannada. That's fine. But when it comes to the private sector, there are three sectors of the economy which give jobs. One is the private sector, the government sector, and then the NGO sector. When it comes to the government sector, if you wish to implement any such thing, it can be implemented. But when it comes to the private sector, just be very, very careful would be my advice. Because again, we're talking about a merit-based private sector, which has fallen into place over the last 27 years, led by the IT industry, then ITES, biotech, and numbers of other industries. The number of people who come into Bengaluru all come in basis merit. And I think we have become a merit magnet city. And if you really ask me, I keep saying Bengaluru is the intellectual capital of India, the IP-led city. So if you look at this city, it's extremely critical to continue that basis of taking care of jobs on a merit basis. I hate the thought of a government Raj coming into private sector recruitment. Even the thought of it is a bit of a worry. Because I think, that's where you sully merit, and merit must not be sullied because Bengaluru has a lot to contribute back to this country at large, leave alone to the state.
Tehseen Poonawalla, you heard Mani Sabharwal and Harish Bijur. They're saying that investors came in given a certain set of circumstances and a certain set of assumptions. Now, with this new Karnataka State Employment of Local Industries Factories Establishment Act, you're changing the rule of the game, and suddenly all these companies, these startups will have to assess whether they wish to be in Bengaluru or not. This could be to Bengaluru's great disadvantage. Why would the Congress want to kill the hen that lays the golden egg?
Rahul, good evening. Thank you so much for having me at the show. And I heard Manish and Harsh very, very attentively. And I, like Harsh, I'm a proponent of local languages, state languages. So Marathi in Maharashtra, my home state, Kannada in Karnataka, absolute primacy. And there must not be any other language that should get more importance than the state language. I'm very clear on that. But as for this bill, let me just assure your viewers 2 or 3 things. It's a draft bill. So, of course, there'll be it can undergo changes. I do thank civil society for standing up and putting the suggestions as well as industry. But again, there is one thing that I find absolutely hypocritical. While I think that, we are today, there is the China +1 policy, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Telangana and Maharashtra competing for global companies to come and invest here. And therefore, this policy will have a disadvantage despite being a Congress supporter. I completely concede to it. I must say it, that the same industrialists who today rightly are pointing out its flaws don't have the guts to call out the Honorable Prime Minister when he was Chief Minister of Gujarat, who did an 85% reservation policy in Gujarat. They don't have the guts to call out Haryana, which did a 75% policy. Do you know what, Rahul? The Punjab and Haryana High Court stuck down the Haryana policy. The matter has been appealed by the BJP government in the Honorable Supreme Court. And for the last 2 years, the Union government under the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji has not replied to the Supreme Court on what their stand is. Yesterday, Shri Amit Shah ji was in Haryana. You may cross-check me. And there he said, look, we promised to implement local reservation. That is the problem with the BJP. The BJP has no moral ground to talk on this.
Okay.
As an entrepreneur, I think that this must be relooked. Yes, Kannada must get importance over other languages, but no, they cannot be local reservations based on this, especially in the highly skilled.
From the BJP. Now, in Gujarat in 1995, the state introduced 85% reservation for locals. The policy was never enforced either in the private or public sectors. In Haryana, this policy was introduced just last year. It's been stayed now by the government, but that bill was passed in 75% of jobs in the private sector, November 5, 2020. And then it went to the courts, and then it got stayed by the courts. So your government in Haryana has also tried to do the same, which is the Congress's argument that when in Haryana you can introduce this policy and the BJP there seems to think it's the right thing to do, why then would you oppose the Congress implementing it in Karnataka?
Rahul, let me make it very clear, we are not opposing it. The matter of fact is that this is a sinister design by the hypocritic Congress government in Karnataka to divert the people's attention towards the core scams and the failures of the Karnataka Congress government here today. We are, for us, for the BJP, it is nation first, and we give equal importance to the territorial nationalism. When we architected the NEP, it was we who got that, the state regional languages should get the first priority and they should be implemented in the first 5 years of the children's education, which the BJP government in Karnataka had opposed. Third thing, now when I've spoken about the scams, why are they trying to deviate and divert this attention is the scams, that is the Valmiki Nigama scam, which has 187 crores, where the funds have been given to the other states' elections. Now comes 25,000 crores of scams, that is misutilization of the SC/ST funds, which has been diverted to the guarantees, and comes the Muda scam of the Chief Minister himself. In all these core scams, the Chief Minister of Karnataka, Mr. Siddaramaiah, is deeply rooted. And tomorrow they are going to have a wide protest in Karnataka regarding this by the SC/ST and all the people of Karnataka. Now tell me, why are they into diversion politics?
Okay, I don't want to get sidetracked into the politics. This is a very serious issue, but I'm going to give Tehseen just a very quick opportunity to rebut, because this is a charge the BJP is leveling, that you brought this bill. No, ma'am, if both guests speak at the same time, I can't moderate the debate. So you've made your point. Tehseen will respond very briefly on the political aspect, that there are two big scams that have come to light. Scams where funds are being diverted for the implementation of your guarantees from things like Dalit welfare, and which is why you're now trying to do something to diffuse attention.
I'm sorry, Rahul. This made as much sense, that is zero sense, as the Honorable Prime Minister's press conferences, zero press conferences. Please, is the BJP for this bill, draft bill, or against it? One is either pregnant or not pregnant. You can't be half pregnant. What the Congress did, Siddaramaiah ji did, DK Shiv Kumar did, they are corrupt, non-corrupt, forget all of that. Are you for the bill or are you against the bill? If you're against the bill, are you for the bill in Haryana and Gujarat? If you're for the bill, then please come on TV why your senior leaders opposing it. Please make very clear to the viewers of Rahul Kanwal's show and India Today. Don't come here and divert the issue. Are you for it or against it?
Are you for it or against it? Sudha Alkai.
1 minute. Rahul, have they cleared it? Why they are diverting the issues from the scams? Why are they not giving the justification what they have done? And what have done in the past 13 months, what the Congress government has given to the people of Karnataka who have got them with so much of mandate? The number of crimes have increased. 60% of crimes against women have increased. So, there's collapse of law and order.
So we are going on a different tangent. My attention here is to try and understand whether this becomes a precedent. Because Manish Savarwal, my concern is, if Karnataka implements this successfully, then other states will say, hey, we can do the same. Telangana may want to follow, other states may want to do the same. Now, we've seen when Haryana brought in 75% mandatory reservation for locals, that was struck down by the Punjab and Haryana High Court. The case is currently before the Supreme Court. If the Karnataka government says that this is not mandatory in the same way, this is on a best effort basis, do you think it then passes muster? Can it then fly, or is it still as problematic, and do you think the courts will strike it down? Manish.
Well, I'm not a constitutional expert. It's above my pay grade on whether the courts will strike it down. I think there are other alternatives to this. You know, the demographics of Kerala are the same as Italy. 8% of Kerala is now Bihari, and Chhat is almost a holiday there. I think the infrastructure of opportunity, you know, fixing the education, employment, and employability of Karnataka is very strong in the technology sector, but there are huge gaps in skill development, there are huge gaps in primary education, which is why you're probably getting this demand. I mean, we don't live in an economy, we live in a society. So I would submit, of course, I think that this is economic insanity and the courts may strike it down, and I hope they do. But I think it is also not the only option on the table. There are other alternatives.
What are your ideas? Since you deal so much with labor and employment, given the challenges these politicians face, how could they encourage the employment of locals without crippling enterprise and innovation?
I think they can think about, just improving the primary education system, improving the skill development system, ramping up the degree apprenticeships. There are thousands of things we can do to create the infrastructure of opportunity for people who need it. I think, if you have a headache, you don't cut off your head.
Okay, let me put that same question to Harish Bijur. This is clearly a challenge politicians face. They would, and the locals would clap. Many of the locals would clap if there is that much reservation for locals. But you don't want to cripple enterprise. You don't want to cripple innovation. You don't want to cripple these startups. How can these two different impulses be balanced?
Okay, Rahul, firstly, I only wish we weren't bringing politics into this.
Correct.
Because, this, we are all responding on it from a very professional basis to say that, hey, the private sector's animal spirit will get affected. So I would say, there's populism at one end and then there is professionalism at another end. Let professionalism be and let populism be, in the sense that the Karnataka state government has put together a terrific 5 guarantee scheme, which has done wonders to the poor at the grassroots level. And I think that's been copied by N numbers of states. Mr. Chandrababu Naidu is doing it, free bus rides for women from the 15th of August. And N numbers of states will implement it in the future. So what happens in Karnataka doesn't stay in Karnataka. It seems to go all over. So I'm afraid even this might go all over, as it has come from other states. What can we do? I think we must let professionalism be. Do not touch the private sector with this kind of an implementation of a reservation policy. Let the animal spirit remain. As far as earnings are concerned, you earn from the private sector. The GDP of the state, the contribution that we get into the state is fundamentally hugely skewed towards the private sector. The IT sector, the ITS, biotech, and numbers of other industries that we are talking about. So I'm really saying the policy and philosophy must be one of Robin Hoodization. Give those 5 guarantees and spend money on them because they're going to the poor, help the poor. But at the same time, get the money in from the savvy, sharp businesses which are at the cutting edge and bleeding edge of India as far as Bengaluru is concerned. So don't touch that part of the industry which is giving you the monies with which welfare state can run. A welfare state is still necessary in India, at least for the next 10, 15 years.
Manish Agarwal, do you think this is just posturing by India Inc. when the likes of a Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw or a Mohandas Pai, NASSCOM, they say we will leave Bangalore? Is that just a threat, or do you think a rule like this will actually force companies to change locations?
I think obviously in the short run it's hard to move, but in the long run, incremental investments, the value of companies is not stock, it is flow. It is what we will do in the future. So I think that this is not the only alternative available to the government to help Kannadigas. I think there are many smart Kannadigas who might actually find it insulting that you feel that they need help of this kind. I think the infrastructure of opportunity is a better way to go than either financing welfareism by debt. Let's finance it with taxes, and let's be clear that yes, companies in the short run can't leave. But in the long run, I think competitive federalism is a reality. 29 chief ministers are starting to compete with each other. The 40 factory refugees from China who are looking to move from China, only 2 of them, Apple and Samsung have set up, but there are 38 other factory refugees looking to set up in India. They will obviously look at stuff like this and
I've just got some breaking news coming in, and it seems that the powers that be are watching the Newstrack at this moment, because the Karnataka government, I'm being told, has put this jobs quota bill on hold. The Karnataka government says they will relook this decision. Nagarjun Dwarkanath heads up our Karnataka Bureau. He joins us. Nagarjun, this is exactly the conversation we were having on the Newstrack at this time. That this could be very deleterious to the interests of the state of Karnataka. Lots of industry may leave. Now you're telling us that this bill has been put on hold. Why is that? Explain what they've decided to do.
In fact, the sources in the government has confirmed to India Today, Rahul, that since morning there have been a lot of comments coming in from the industry experts that this is practically not viable, and now the government has put the whole cabinet decision on hold when the cabinet passed the draft bill of quota for jobs for Kannadigas in Karnataka. That has been put on hold. Most likely the government will relook it and not make maybe 50% or 75%, and also sit with the industry experts and to talk to them about
But didn't they do any consultation before they brought this bill?
They did preliminarily is what we are told, but now they want to have a wider range of consultation or talks or mediation with NASSCOM and other industry experts as well. It was only a hand-picked few is what we are told who did give their support consultation, who were also local businessmen and also local tech company CEOs and MDs. But Now that the issue has gone out of proportion and also a lot of states are already welcoming industries to their state, that's the reason why the government wanted to go relook at the whole bill, and the cabinet decision has been put on hold after the consultation.
Thanks, Nagarjun, for breaking that story for us. Manish Sabharwal, it seems that the powers that be are listening to you and Harish Bijur very carefully. They've put the bill on hold even as we were doing this live broadcast this evening.
I think Karnataka's genius is the ability to heal itself. It's the ability to welcome people from all over. It's the ability to listen. So I think that, we all are trying to find better ways to create the infrastructure of opportunity for people around us, for people all over the country. So I think that it's important to recognize why this demand came. This demand will not go away. But the solution to it is a better education, employment, and employability ecosystem rather than sort of issuing
Harish Bijur,
stuff which is hard to implement and frankly doesn't work.
I agree completely, because you can implement this rule or try and implement this rule. Companies will find some way of short-circuiting it and no purpose will be served. You have to kind of bring people and companies on board more willingly, so it's actually done in a more sustainable fashion. Harish Bijur, your voice clearly having big impact, being listened to very carefully, but they'll find some other way. They put it on hold. They'll find some other way of trying to bring some other version of this bill, but it's really all the blowback from all of you in Bengaluru has really seen the government have to pull back now.
Rahul, I didn't know that in a 30-minute program, I'll be irked at one end of the program and happy at the other one. And I think, this happiness comes from the decisive nature of what Mr. Siddaramaiah and Mr. D.K. Shivkumar must have taken as action. But if you ask me, what has already been done is raise the expectations among the common man in Karnataka to say that Kannada primacy is coming in and there are going to be reservation of jobs. Now there is a pullback. Now, the thing is, this needs to be managed. Governance is an art, a science, and a philosophy. The philosophy is all okay, but the art and science needs to be perfected before making announcements out in the public. And I think this decision did not have enough consultations with the right industry. And I keep saying, in Bengaluru, industry is just 20 people possibly across 20 different phone calls. That's all you need to do. And I think if that was done, we wouldn't have come to this pass. I want to compliment the Karnataka state government for taking this decision, if it has taken this decision, to put this on the back burner.
Well, they have put it on hold, but I don't know whether they deserve compliments because they're the one who brought in this botched up idea without consultation in the first place. Now under pressure and duress, they're having to pull back. That's the reality. I don't see why you're worthy for any compliments for that. But this is where I wrap up this broadcast. I want to thank Harish Bijur and Manish Sabharwal for joining us. Thanks also to Sudha Halkai and Tehseen Poonawala for giving us a political perspective. The good news though there is that while this broadcast was on, that bill has been put on hold, and thank God for that. We're slipping into a break. When we come back, churn ahead of the assembly polls in Maharashtra. 4 Ajit Pawar leaders return to Sharad Pawar's NCP. Details coming up on the other side.
India Today. Newsbreak sets the agenda. First to expose IAS fraud. First to investigate her fakery.
India Today was the one who exposed her WhatsApp chat.
First to uncover parents' arrogance. Now Pooja Khedkar shunted out. India Today, the channel of real impact.
It is not good for other states, so it is better to decrease the percentage of the Kannada working. More than Kannada here, outside peoples are working here, more than Karnataka peoples. So it is affects to Bangalore, Karnataka government.
I think people should give some importance for the localites. And of course, for technical jobs, it is the whatever they score, whatever they get is important.
As we are Karnataka people, it's not fair for us. because we are compared to other state population, we are more in this state. For that sake, we have to keep less reservation for other state people, and it would be benefit for us, not for others.
In Karnataka, the prominence should be always to the Kannadigas. So I think 50% is not sufficient, I suppose. It should have been increased all the more. I think probably the government can revise and reserve the seats or the vacancies for different cadre of people in different reserves.
See, reservation should be there, but it should go for the eligible people. And for the locals, if you get, for example, in Karnataka, if Kannadigas are given employment, it will help them also and it will help the employer also. So it is not only for us in Karnataka, it is also for other states as well. If the locals are given an opportunity, they will be, it will help them also and it will help the other employer also.
Ahead of the assembly elections, there's a big churn in the state of Maharashtra. 4 leaders of the NCP Ajit Pawar faction have returned to Sharad Pawar's fold. They say they were upset over ticket distribution, but it seems that all is not well within the Mahayuti. An RSS-linked magazine has blamed Ajit Pawar and his party for BJP's poor showing in the Lok Sabha elections. The big question is, how will all of this play out in the build-up to that big assembly election?
Rumbling in Maharashtra's ruling Mahayuti just months ahead of the assembly polls. This time, a mutiny in Ajit Pawar's NCP over assembly poll tickets. Denied tickets for Bhosari's seat despite hectic lobbying, 4 senior leaders of Ajit Pawar NCP jumped ship and joined Sharad Pawar faction. The turncoats include Pimpri Chinchwad Unit Chief Ajit Gawane, a student unit chief and 2 sitting corporators.
2017 से यहाँ पे पिंपरी चिंचवड में भारतीय जनता पार्टी की यहाँ पे पीसीएमसी में उनका जो रूलिंग वो कर रहे हैं, तो उस वक्त से पीसीएमसी में जो डेवलपमेंट हुई है वो गलत तरीके से यहाँ पे भ्रष्टाचार भी बहुत हुआ है और इसके लिए जिम्मेदार यहाँ के जो सिटिंग एमएलए है वो इसके लिए जिम्मेदार है.
The Sharad camp welcomed the rebels and termed it a vindication of Sharad Pawar's leadership.
आदरणीय पवार साहेब महाराष्ट्राच्या आणि देशाच्या राजकारणात कार्यरत आहेत आणि त्यांच्या नेतृत्वावर फक्त आमचाही विश्वास तर आहेच. सामान्य मायबाप जनतेने तर साथ दिलीच आहे, आशीर्वाद दिलेला आहे. पण काही विरोधकही आज आदरणीय पवार साहेबांकडेच अपेक्षेने बघतात. याच्यातच सगळ्या प्रश्नांची उत्तर.
Meanwhile, RSS mouthpiece blamed BJP's tie-up with the NCP for the Lok Sabha poll debacle. The RSS organ said that voters found the alliance unnatural.
अब आरएसएस ने जो एक भूमिका ली है अजीत पवार के बारे में, उस बारे में जो अंतिम फैसला है वो भारतीय जनता पार्टी के नेतृत्व को लेना है, हमको नहीं लेना है. तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी का नेतृत्व आरएसएस और आपस का जो विषय है उसको सॉल्व करे और अजीत पवार के लिए आगे क्या करना है वो उनका एक अंतिम निर्णय हो सकता है. उस बारे में वो एक फैसला कर सकते हैं.
हमारे कैंडिडेट को
Pimpri Chinchwad is considered Ajit Pawar's stronghold. Will the dissent spell trouble for him in upcoming polls? Bureau Report, India Today.
Trouble in Maharashtra and rumblings in the BJP in Uttar Pradesh as well. There were a series of meetings in Delhi today. The state party chief met the Prime Minister. Home Minister Amit Shah too met the Prime Minister. The UP Deputy CM is saying publicly that the organization is bigger than the individual and trying to talk about the discord between party workers and his own government. Sources tell India Today that a big organizational rejig is on the cards in Uttar Pradesh.
Rumblings in the Uttar Pradesh BJP are out in the open after the setback suffered in the Lok Sabha elections. Several party leaders and allies have voiced their concern about the functioning of the bureaucracy in the state and the perceived neglect of party workers. From Lucknow to Delhi, the party top brass has had a series of huddles over the last few days. Prime Minister Narendra Modi met UP BJP chief Bhupendra Chaudhary on Wednesday. The meeting comes a day after BJP President JP Nadda held talks with UP Deputy CM Keshav Prasad Maurya and the state unit chief. Sources tell India Today the talks focused on reducing friction between the party organisation and the state government. Sources say Nadda instructed leaders not to make statements that may harm the party's interests. A message has been sent out to keep the party and government united. Sources added that there is no move to change Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, but the state party organisation could be rejigged. Sources also hint at a cabinet reshuffle in UP. The meetings were necessitated by statements by leaders that indicated all is not well within the party. Deputy CM KP Maurya's comment at a meeting of MLAs in Lucknow on Monday in particular made headlines. Maurya had also skipped 2 cabinet meetings held by Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. Now sections within the BJP are questioning why Maurya didn't raise any objections while being Deputy Chief Minister for 7 long years. They point out that Maurya was made Deputy Chief Minister despite losing the assembly election. The BJP, however, has played down the fight within.
संगठन का तंत्र राष्ट्रीय लेवल से लेकर बूथ तक या बूथ से लेकर राष्ट्रीय लेवल तक है तो केवल और केवल भाजपा में है और भाजपा का ही निष्ठावान देवतुल्य कार्यकर्ता ऐसा है जो निस्वार्थ भाव से 365 दिन काम करता है.
To add to the BJP's woes, its allies are also openly voicing their concern about governance in UP.
इग्नोर नहीं किया जा सकता है कि प्रशासन में कुछ न कुछ. मैं तो बार बार हमेशा कहता हूँ कि ढेर सारे अधिकारी ऐसे हैं कि अंदर से हाथी साइकिल पंजा है, ऊपर से कमल ओढ़कर कुर्सी बैठे हैं. जब उनको मौका मिलता है तो डसने का कोशिश.
Recently, Apna Dal Chief and Union Minister Anupriya Patel wrote a letter to Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath claiming many quota vacancies were de-reserved and given to general category, leading to anger among backward classes. The churn within the BJP-led NDA has given the Samajwadi Party a chance to target the Yogi government.
ये सरकार जो आपस में लड़ रही है, इनके फैसले भी जल्दीबाजी के हैं. जहां शिक्षकों को परेशान करने के लिए जो सरकार ने फैसला लिया कि ऑनलाइन डिजिटल अटेंडेंस ली जाएगी, समाजवादी पार्टी ने उसका विरोध भी किया. वहीं ये जहां कमजोर पड़े हैं, लखनऊ में और सरकार में ये कमजोर पड़े हैं, इसलिए इन्होंने ध्वस्तीकरण का अपना फैसला टाला है.
The focus for the BJP is now the bypass on the 10 seats for which CM Yogi Adityanath held a meeting with the in-charge ministers. It looks like for the BJP, the internal and the external battle is continuing with the fact that how the voices are coming. But a big question still remains how the party will go ahead with this kind of environment where the cadre, the coordination and the organization government equation is still under the question. In Lucknow with cameraman Neeraj Kumar, Abhishek Mitra for India Today.
From Indian politics, let's shift our attention to what's happening in the US elections, where Donald Trump continues to rise on the popularity charts. In the meanwhile, US media is now reporting that there was intel about an Iranian plot to kill Donald Trump. This even as a masked man with an AK-47 was arrested near the Republican convention in Milwaukee.
He's got a knife. Yes, he does.
5 police officers shot and killed an armed man just under a mile from the security perimeter for the Republican National Convention. Officials clarified that there was nothing to suggest the shooting was related to the convention itself. Locals were miffed by the shootout. This had no implications inside the Republican convention. The second-day convention was nothing short of overwhelming eulogy for the former US President Donald Trump as he beamed and nodded. Vice President pick J.D. Vance stood by him while Trump critics turned his loyal endorser in the race to White House.
Let's send Joe Biden back to his basement and let's send Donald Trump back to the White House. Now, Donald Trump stands in their way and he stands up for America. Donald Trump has been demonized, he's been sued, he's been prosecuted, and he nearly lost his life. We cannot let him down, and we cannot let America down.
Nikki Haley was Donald Trump's final challenger in the Republican presidential primary. Much like the Florida governor, she too directly addressed her supporters, endorsing the former U.S. president.
A strong president doesn't start wars. A strong president prevents wars. Donald Trump has my strong endorsement, period.
Businessman and former Republican presidential hopeful Vivek Ramaswamy singled out Gen Z voters, urging them to be conservatives.
Fuels are a requirement for human.
And our message to Gen Z is this: you're going to be the generation that actually saves this country. You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative. Say you want to get married, have kids, teach them to believe in God and pledge allegiance to their country. Because you know what? Fear has been infectious in this country, but courage can be contagious too. That too is what it means to be an American.
Inside the convention, the Haley and DeSantis appearances were particularly notable given the personal animosity that defined this year's primary contest in the America's Grand Old Party. Republicans were jubilant. The pet bulldog named Baby Dog of West Virginia's governor, Jim Justice, made a surprise appearance, and delegates were told she had predicted a Republican sweep in the upcoming elections in November. Bureau Report, India Today.
This is where I wrap up the Newstrack tonight, a big impactful show this evening, one of the joys of live television, and I look forward to seeing you at 8 p.m. tomorrow evening. For your time and your trust, thank you very much. See you tomorrow evening.
Joined by CPM MP John Brittas. Sir, the Karnataka government, the cabinet has passed a bill, it's yet to be tabled under the Legislative Assembly, seeking 50% reservation for management positions in various industries of Karnataka. What's your first reaction to it?
It's highly retrograde, reactionary and regressive. See, one state or one city is not made by those people who are born there or in domicile. For example, city of Bangalore, it has been made by a lot of people outside the state, even outside the country. $450 billion IT industry came up in Bangalore, not because of those people who are born or brought up there. So I would say this is going to unleash mayhem. There was another attempt by Haryana government a few years back. It's under litigation now. Despite that, Kannadiga government has come up with a similar legislation. And this is another form of fundamentalism. As a political party, Congress is supposed to be against such fundamentalism, but they are adopting to such ways now.
tell you a few things about the commander-in-chief I know and worked with. As ambassador to the United Nations, I had a front row seat to his national security policies. We sure could use those again. Think about it. When Barack Obama was president, Vladimir Putin invaded Crimea. With Joe Biden as president, Putin invaded all of Ukraine. But when Donald Trump was president, Putin did nothing. No invasions. No invasions, no wars. That was no accident. Putin didn't attack Ukraine because he knew Donald Trump was tough. A strong president doesn't start wars. A strong president prevents wars.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Oh, sorry.
केस नंबर 35 मुरारी लाल बनाम मुंगेरी लाल हाजिर हो।
जनाब ये लीजिए, ये PIL है और PIL को IPL लिखा है आपने, पिटीशन को कंपटीशन लिखा है। गलती हो गई मिलॉर्ड, गलती। चलो कार्रवाई शुरू करो। जनाब ये मेरा मुवक्किल मुरारी लाल है, इसकी मुर्गी 3 दिन से लापता है। इनका इल्जाम है कि मुंगेरी लाल ने इनकी मुर्गी चुरा ली है।
साहब ये मुंगेरी लाल मेरी मुर्गी चुरा कर खा गया है। ये आदमी 420 है माई बाप।
नहीं बोल सकते 420। मुंगेरी लाल, धाराएं बदल गई हैं।
धारा बदल गई है, साहब मैं आजाद हूँ।
अरे पकड़ के रखो इसको यार। वकील साहब आप तो नई धारा बताओ कौन सी लगेगी, मिसिंग की लगेगी या अपहरण की लगेगी? मिलॉर्ड सारी धाराएं बदल गई हैं। आपकी अगर किताब मिल जाती तो।
किताब क्यों मिल जाती? वैसे बैठो आप वकील साहब, ये डिफेंस को कुछ सवाल करना है।
हाँ तो मिस्टर मुरारी लाल, आपकी मुर्गी का पड़ोस के मुर्गे के साथ क्या संबंध था?
वकील साहब वो दोनों दोस्त थे।
पॉइंट टू बी नोटेड मिलॉर्ड, एक मुर्गा और मुर्गी कभी दोस्त नहीं हो सकते। इनकी मुर्गी पड़ोस के मुर्गे के साथ भाग गई है। ये मामला चोरी का है ही नहीं।
जज साहब मैं जाऊं फिर?
अरे बैठो तुम यार। वकील साहब आप ये बताओ धारा कौन सी लगेगी? जज साहब अगर आपकी किताब मिल जाती तो। यार कमाल करते हो आप दोनों यार, हैं? एक धारा नहीं याद होती आपको? किताब लाना जरा।
जनाब वो तो दूसरे जज साहब ले गए। साहब मेरी मुर्गी। साहब मैं जाऊं, आजाद हूं ना मैं।
अरे कोई धारा बताएगा? जज साहब धारा बताने से पहले मैं कुछ कहना चाहता हूँ। कई साल की मेहनत के बाद मैंने सारी धाराएं याद की थी, रट्टा लगाया था। अदालत में वही धाराएं मैं फराटे से बोलता था। कई केस जीते थे मैंने योर ऑनर, लेकिन अब धाराएं बदल चुकी हैं। अब फिर से नई धाराएं पे धाराएं, धाराएं पे धाराएं, धाराएं पे धाराएं मिली है मिलॉर्ड, लेकिन याद करने का टाइम नहीं मिला। द कोर्ट इज एडजर्न्ड।